Well, I'm joined now by Laurence Skelly, MHK for Rushen, and here we're going to be talking about your question that actually didn't get raised yesterday. Obviously disappointed because you're obviously passionate about the state of education in the Isle of Man and the situation for university students. Take us through exactly your point, what you think is the way forward.
Well, what I wanted to do is ask a question of the Minister for Education and Children, what his priorities were, given obviously the news that proposing to charge tuition fees for young Manx students going to university and college off the island. And I really wanted to find out what the priorities were, not just of his department, but also question the priorities of this government. Because when we invest in our young people, we're investing in our future. And I feel very strongly that we should continue to do that. And we haven't had much time to debate, hasn't been out to consultation, and there's a lot of questions with regards to this proposal. I think we need answers.
And yet you couldn't get question time extended?
Sadly, I couldn't. It was a big question paper, and I was number 20 on the line, and we did have a proposal and a backer and 16 members, we needed 16 members to actually continue that question time, of which we only had 14, and there were several members that were out of chamber at the time.
Well, it will be going to debate in Tynwald, of course. I mean, it's going to get in for quite a bumpy ride from all accounts. I mean, you're not the only one that's been on to me questioning this thing, but do you believe it will go through in some shape, form or fashion?
Well, I've made my position very clear, and I think it was in my manifesto, and I'm sure many members will be looking at the manifestos right now to see where their position lies and where they stand. It's important to recognise that we are in difficult times. We do need to make savings, but should we actually be hitting these youngest, our brightest people? Because I think we must recognise that our students are already financially disadvantaged because of the travelling costs, the extra living costs that they have to go off the Isle of Man to further their career, and what's the fallout going to be? I'm very, very concerned about the impact of those who choose not to go because of this financial burden that we're now going to impose upon them or propose.
But the obvious question I have to ask next is, where are you going to find this other money? You know, if you saved that part of the pot, who else is going to lose money?
And that's where I think the question is about priorities. You know, we haven't actually just had the debate and decided about the scope of government. We haven't tackled terms and conditions. We're bringing forward social policy, but what about the benefits packages? We need to actually have those debates long before we actually deal with our youngest and brightest people and hitting them.
But have you got your proposals to save money? I mean, literally, you know, it's okay saying things like that, but you've got to show definite commitment to saying, we will take it from this place or something. I mean, no one's going to be popular with this, are they?
Oh, undoubtedly. But the question is, it comes down to priorities, government priorities. Where are we going to make the savings? The scope of government has a number of areas where we could make savings if this government is prepared to actually tackle it. Terms and conditions, that's another issue. The social issue, the social benefits issue. Those are the big issues, therefore the potential big savings. Now, the department said there is a savings to be had here of £4 million. There is also an administration cost with this that they haven't said, but I've heard it being said in other areas that it's going to cost over $200,000 to administer this.
This is the means testing.
This is the means testing, and then you've also got the administering the loan, etc. And what's the fallout going to be? They have said that there will be approximately 50 local students will not take this up. What's going to happen to those 50 students? Are we going to find employment for them? And if we don't find employment for them, they're going to be added another statistic to NEETs. And what happens with that is 50 turns into 100 or even more. We might be shifting the debt from one area to another. So I don't think we've done a full impact assessment of this, and that's what concerns me.
Yet this has gone through the Council of Ministers before obviously the news was announced. I mean, there's a block vote there already that you're going to be up against.
There's 10 of them there, but there's 24 members of the House of Keys. And if 12 members vote against it, they won't get it through.
What's your feeling about the debate? What's going to happen?
I know there's quite a lot of members that are not happy with how this has actually come forward, because simply we had a presentation and then it's come before Tynwald as an act. Therefore, we got a simple vote, yes or no. We can't really have any amendments. So therefore, I think we need to take a step back, have a debate, have some consultation, because that's the issue. We haven't had no consultation, and the government's been, particularly in social care, which I do have to applaud, they're tackling a lot of issues all together, but they've gone out and done consultations. And that's what we must do, I think, in this, because there are other areas, there are other methods, I believe, that we could actually introduce that would be able to save money.
Well, Coleman will do a sort of head count outside their area to see what it's looking like. Do you think it will be diluted down in any way before the debate?
Well, it'd be a very interesting question, and sadly, we might have to wait till Tuesday to find the answer to that. And I do genuinely believe it's unfortunate that they brought it forward in this fashion, and we haven't had that opportunity to question. And as I say, that's the fundamental issue here. We never had an opportunity to question that yesterday in the House. Now it goes to Tynwald. It will be, everyone will have their say, and it goes to a straight yes or no. And I'm disappointed that we have to do that.